Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are going to tackle something that so many of us dread: public speaking. We're going to unlock the secrets to giving a really great speech and hopefully turn some of that anxiety into pure confidence.
All right, let's be honest for a second. For a lot of people, the very idea of public speaking is, well, it's terrifying, right? You get all caught up in this fear of messing it up, stumbling over your words, or worse, completely losing the room. But here's the thing. What if the secret isn't about being perfect at all? Most speeches that fall flat, they don't crash and burn because of one huge mistake. Nope. They fail because they're fundamentally out of balance. It's kind of like a wobbly table. Too much data on one side and not enough real connection on the other. Or maybe all personality but no real substance. The real key, the secret, is finding that perfect equilibrium. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to build a super powerful framework that you can use for pretty much any speech you ever have to give. We'll kick things off with a pretty cool ancient secret, then we'll get into mastering credibility and logic, and finally, we'll look at how you can actually deliver your message with some serious impact. So what's the solution? Well, it's not some new app or a trendy life hack you'd find online. It's actually a framework that's been working for over 2,000 years. Yeah, you heard that right. It comes from Aristotle himself, and it's called the rhetorical triangle. Trust me, this thing is basically the ultimate guide to persuasive speaking. Okay, so picture this. Your speech is a perfect equilateral triangle. Each of the 3 points represents a critical element, and they all have to be perfectly balanced with each other. If you lean too hard on just one point, like say you just bombard your audience with facts and figures, the whole thing gets wobbly and can just collapse. It's all about keeping those 3 points in harmony. So point number 1 is ethos. Now, ethos is all about you, the speaker. It's your credibility, your character, basically your authority on the subject. Deep down, whether they realize it or not, the audience is asking one simple question: why should I be listening to this person? Next up, point number 2, pathos. This one is all about your connection to the audience. It's not just about what you say, it's about making them feel something. You're trying to tap into their emotions, their values, their own experiences. The goal here is to build a kind of bridge from you to them.
And that brings us to the final point of our triangle: logos. Logos is the actual message. It's the logic, the reasoning, the proof you're presenting. It's the meat of your speech. You have to ask yourself, does this actually make sense? Is it clear? Does it hold together? Okay, so we've got our 3 points: ethos, pathos, and logos. Now, let's really dig into how they work together. We're going to start with the 2 people-centric sides of the triangle. That's building your own credibility and then creating that all-important connection with your audience. All right, let's talk about building your ethos, your credibility. And believe it or not, this starts before you even open your mouth. How you stand, your posture, that signals confidence right away. And your voice. Don't be a robot. Varying your speed, your pitch, your volume, that's what keeps people engaged. But maybe the most important thing of all, be authentic. Don't try to be some other famous speaker. People can spot a fake a mile away. They'll trust you a whole lot more when they feel like they're getting the real you. Okay, now for pathos, connecting with the audience. This is where you have to completely flip the script. You've got to stop thinking about yourself and make it all about them. A great speaker is kind of like a great party host. They know who's in the room, what they care about, what they need to hear. A little bit of humor, man, that can break down walls instantly. In your body language, using open gestures, it just says, hey, we're in this together. Your whole goal is to make it feel like a shared experience, not a lecture. Look, being credible and connecting with people is huge, but it can only get you so far, right? If your actual message is a mess, the whole thing falls apart. And that's where we build the 3rd and final side of our triangle, mastering logos, the actual logic of your argument. Now, a strong, logical message, strong logos, it's not about using a bunch of big words or confusing charts. It really just boils down to 3 simple things. First up is clarity. Is your main point super simple and easy to get? Second is adequacy. Did you give them enough info, but not so much that their eyes glaze over? And third, fluency. Does it all just flow? Does it move smoothly from one point to the next without any awkward bumps? So how do you actually structure this thing to make it logical? You need a solid skeleton. And honestly, this classic structure you see here, it's unbeatable for a reason. First, you hook them with a really strong, interesting intro. Then, in the middle, the body, you deliver your key points with good examples. And finally, you stick the landing with a short, powerful conclusion that just drives your core message home.
And this brings up a really common trap we all fall into these days. Look, visual aids like slides can be amazing for boosting your logos. They can clarify things, show data, but, and this is a big but, they are there to support you. They are not the main event. You are. The second your slides start to get more attention than you do, you've lost the connection.
All right, so now we get it. We need a balanced speech with strong ethos, pathos, and logos. But how do we actually deliver it? Let's take a look at the 4 main ways you can bring this whole triangle to life when you're up there on stage.
As you can see, each of these 4 methods has its own pros and cons. You've got impromptu, which is totally spontaneous, but, can be a bit of a mess. Then there's reading from a manuscript. Super precise, but it can totally kill your connection with the audience. Memorizing the whole thing can feel powerful, but man, it's so easy to sound robotic. That's why, for most of us, most of the time, the real sweet spot is extemporaneous. You've planned it, you've rehearsed, but you're using just a few notes. It gives you structure and lets you stay connected and conversational. It's really the best of both worlds.
Okay, but what about that nightmare scenario where someone puts you on the spot? No prep time, you just have to talk. First thing, don't panic. You can still pull off a great impromptu speech. Just follow these steps. The absolute key is to focus on making just one single point. Say it clearly, say it briefly, thank them, and then, and this is the most important part, stop talking. Seriously, less is more.
So in the end, it really doesn't matter which delivery style you pick. It all comes back to that one single timeless idea. Being a successful public speaker isn't about a long list of rules or having the fanciest PowerPoint slides. It's about finding that perfect, delicate balance between the 3 points: you, your audience, and your message. So here's what I want you to do. The next time you have to give a speech or a presentation, before you even start writing, I want you to just picture that triangle. And then ask yourself, which side of this triangle needs my attention the most? Do I need to work on my credibility, my ethos? Do I need to think more about connecting with the audience, my pathos? Or is my message just not clear enough, my logos? Figuring that out, well, that's your first step to giving a truly fantastic speech.